Evening, guys. Welcome. This class will be interesting. We'll see how we go. I'll try my best to give you some good challenging stuff. We'll do a little bit more technical stuff in this class. That'll be the best thing we can kind of get away with here. Do make sure that while we're in lockdown, take the opportunity to read through your syllabus handbook and make sure you know all the stuff for your syllabus. So you got all your theory in there. Make sure you're learning your theory and stuff. Most of you, I think, have got the self-defense handbook. It's a good time to read through that and make sure you know all the material from here, both in the first part and in the second part for your grade. That gives you the good starters for your self-defense stuff. So reading through that, if you've got this book, there's a lot of great content that you've got to know in here. All sorts of technical stuff that you guys in particular should know. Things like heights, body lines, sine wave, all sorts of good technical stuff in here. So make sure you're learning all of that stuff. Okay, you guys are the top people in the class, so make sure you're getting stuck in and learn. It's also a good time with the pattern workout book to be reading through your patterns so you know the name of every movement, the appropriate height of every movement, and things like that. Okay, so take this time to do some reading. You might find in class for school, you get a little bit of time to do something. Your teachers might find that they're giving you something, a bit of freedom to do home type assignments. So you might want to use that to learn a little bit about Taekwondo stuff. So, you know, if you've got to do an assignment and report back on it, you might want to study up about your gok, find out who your gok was, write a little summary, draw a couple of pictures. So anytime you've got free stuff to do in class where they're asking you to write a story or something like that, try and involve some of the things you're learning from Taekwondo that way. If, of course, your teachers are giving you these math exercises, their top priority, get that stuff done first, okay? So I'm just saying if you've got some freedom for what you're covering in class, then feel free to pick up some of this Taekwondo stuff and add that to what you're doing in your classes as well, where it warrants it. And then in your free time, make sure you're reading through some of those books and stuff and learning that stuff. Okay, let's get started. Dr. Vales is here too. Welcome, Dr. Vales. Dr. Vales is going to pipe in, giving feedback and stuff as well. We're going to do our best for a class of your caliber in our little spaces. So we'll see how we go. First up, chin up. Come here. Take what? And raise your right hand and recite the tenets. Shijok, courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, indomitable spirit. And recite the oath. Shijok, I shall observe the tenets of Taekwondo. I shall respect the instructor and seniors. I shall never misuse Taekwondo. I shall be a champion of freedom and justice. I shall build a more peaceful world. Mono. Okay, we'll start by getting warmed up, but before we get warmed up, I want you to come into either in your chat window or unmute and say, what is one technique from your grade that you feel you need to work on? Given the space, we might find that flying kicks are a little bit tricky, but you might have things like your palm upward block or your double forearm block or whatever it may be. Type in some of the techniques that you find a little bit tricky and we'll practice those as our fundamental movements. Then we'll warm up. Okay. Knife hand guarding block. Okay. Flying side kickers, blue belts. Yes. Those of us that don't have capacity to fly so much might have to do them on the ground. Okay. Got a couple. Tucking your knife hand guarding block. Not quite sure what you're... Okay. Upward elbow, yeah, upper elbow. It's called upper elbow strike. Yes, cool. Yes, I'm with you. So tucking your legs when you're jumping and spinning. Oh, yeah. Well, let's get all the flying kicks out. Flying side kick for you too, Isabel. Everyone wants to fly. You just want to see me hit my head on my light, put my foot through my floorboards. Okay. Okay, so that gives us some ideas. Anything else you want to add, you can add that in, and we'll work on some of those techniques as fundamental exercises. Let's get warmed up first. Just rotating your wrists. Change direction. You'll find for this class that I'll be joining right on 6 o'clock because, of course, it's right after the kids' class, and I wasn't smart enough to give myself another couple of minutes to change over. Elbows. So if you're in the waiting room, that's not a big deal. I'll just allow you in as soon as I arrive. But I'm watching the clock pretty carefully so that I can start the class at 6. And arms back. And forwards. And torso. And left ankle. Who's had enough of the inside of their house? Who feels that second time around is so much harder than first time around? Change direction with your foot. Yeah, I'm feeling it. My little troglodyte started to lose it on day 2 or day 1. Change foot. So do your best to get lots of sleep. Be as patient as you can with mum and dad because they're going to be struggling with it as well. Change direction. Try and help out a little bit as well. The more you can do at home to help out, the easier life's going to be for everybody. So just see if you can pick up a little bit more of the chores after you finish your schoolwork. And hands on knees. And circling your legs outwards. And inwards. Just keep those hands up. And just gently rotating your hips a little bit. After this, we're going to grab a friendly chair or something that closely resembles a chair. Just while you're typing there, Mr. S, Colin, just in your chat, feel free to type in some fundamental movements that you feel you need to work on. If there's anything from your patterns or from your syllabus. Okay, go and grab yourself a friendly chair or something that resembles a chair. You put your hand on a wall there, Mr. W. Like here, I'm going to use first names rather than family names because we're recording this. So your hand on the wall, like is going to be fine. Okay, from here, doing our front rising kicks. But what I want you to focus on is instead of swinging your leg up, try and lift it. So using your strength as well. 10 each side. Try and control it on the way down as well. Keep that other hand up, of course. And the same thing with side rising kicks. Again, you're lifting and controlling it on the way down. Make sure you're opening your body and your shoulders up. Watch your foot angle. Dr. V, I trust you've changed to gallery view rather than my spotlight. Unless you're here to give me feedback.
Jeff, try to keep into a straight line. Look at where you kick. Jeff, look at where you kick.
Jacob, look where you kick. Nice. Okay. One more set. Front rising kicks and side rising kicks. Away you go. When you're doing your side rising kicks, make sure you're looking where you're kicking. Watch that bum, make sure it's not sitting out, turn that supporting foot. Now our slow turning kicks. 20 each leg. Lift it nice and high. Keep your knee up. Not too fast. If you beat me, you're doing them too fast. Do a few more each leg. Cool. Okay, now with your side piercing kicks, remember to open your shoulders. So ideally, same side hand's on the chair, opposite hand is off the chair. We don't want to drop the shoulder down like this. Keep that shoulder up and open. And 20 side kicks each leg. Keep the knee and foot nice and high. Okay, and the other leg.
Mr. Saunders, don't use 2 hands on the box, just 1 hand.
Hold on, try and lift your knee a little more.
Yeah, better. Mr. Saper, extend your legs fully. Extend your leg fully. Yes.
Good. Okay, last one. We've all done these little dips, right? Where you lift your leg up, go up and down a little bit. The one thing that we're going to do to modify that today is we're going to do them a little bit slower. So rather than going dip, 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 up, down, up, down, up, down. So extend your side kick out, up, down, just about 10 centimeters. Do 30 each leg, go. Make sure your bum's not sticking out.
Look where you kick. Look where you kick, guys.
Same positions for that yoke chain.
Yes, better. Look, look, look.
Little up, little down, little up. Keep the legs straight. Make sure your bum's not sticking out. Jacob, just turn that supporting foot a little bit more. Tuck your bum in. Sorry, Dr. V.
Miss Crookshank, your foot shape. Yes, yes, better. Yeah.
Mr. W, just a little movement. Only about 10 centimeters up and down. Just about 10. Nice, Mr. S.
Mr. Christian, Jacob, only the right arm on the leg, on the chair. Only the right arm on the chair. Yes.
Just that one. And then open your shoulders.
Yes.
Jacob, try not to drop the shoulder down. Try and open the shoulder up.
Shoulder.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's it. Yes, nice.
Foot shape, Isabel. Foot shape.
Okay, grab a little drink before we go on to the next bit.
Sorry, sir, my dad accidentally gave me the wrong password and details.
Oh, okay. The links are on our website under news, and the password's the same for all of the classes. I won't say what it is on here, but it's the same for all the classes. So welcome.
Okay.
Okay. Checking our weight. We've got a couple of hand techniques that we want to work on from our list that we've been given, and a few flying techniques. So we'll work on those now. Just do notice that if you're sending messages at all to me, notice that I've got two computers there. So one of them is the host, that one's recording me. The other one is my gallery up on my screen. So try to send it to the gallery on the screen, because then I can see your messages that come up rather than having to move in and read on the computer and see that I've missed a couple. Okay, first technique that someone asked about was the upper elbow strike. So from our parallel stance, remember that here you're full facing in this position. Your elbow is shoulder line, and you're striking someone underneath the chin. It's always done in a reverse position. Always reverse in the walking stance. It's never done this way, okay, because your leg's in the way. You can't hit someone under the chin unless they're kind of doing this, saying hit me under the chin. So it's not very practical. So from here, if I'm stepping my left foot forward, I'm striking with my right hand. My hands just come forward, relaxed. My striking arm's going to drop a little bit and then just come upwards as I strike. I've got to make sure the direction of this hand goes nice and straight beside my face. I have more than once seen people punch themselves on the way through. Try not to do that. From here, here. Okay, so what I recommend actually, just on the ground first, just kneel down and just do the hand movements. Relaxing in front of chest, backward motion, and strike. Doesn't have to have a full turn of the hand in this movement. Doesn't need to be a full turn. Strikes has less rotation than punches. So it's just kind of a bit more than a half turn, really. And then the other side, so you've got to drop the striking hand down a little bit. And don't overemphasize your shoulders. Okay, so you're not changing the half facing. We're not doing this. We keep the shoulders straight. The seniors have a technique called side back elbow strike, where it is half facing. But the side of the upper elbow strike, upper back elbow strike. This one just comes straight upwards with the shoulders full facing. So two hands. Okay, now let's pop into our stance and do the same thing. So from here, hands relaxed in front of you. And try not to angle your shoulders. Try and keep your shoulders nice and straight at the moment of impact, just in line with your shoulder. Also be careful that you're not chicken winging, that you're not coming out here sideways. Make sure it's coming straight up in line with the shoulder. It's palm downwards, isn't it, Dr. V? Not side fist. Palm or side fist? Oh, we're both, it is palm down. Cool, that's what I got, lovely. So palm downwards, not side fist down. From here, just go left and right. Make sure you're landing your heel on the ground at the moment of impact. Now from here, do the sequence from Jungun. Going knife hand, upper elbow. Then the other side. Don't overemphasize the twist. So I'm not going from my knife hand guarding block all the way back and around this way because it's going to overthrow it. From my knife hand guarding block, I'm actually going to straighten up a little bit. So I get a little bit of hip, but not the full amount from my knife hand guarding block. Check your shoulders, check your feet. Next couple, afterwards, pause, check your feet. Check your stance. Nice having a camera for that. Okay, now pause. One of the other key things that we're going to think about with Jungun in particular, it's got a lot of single foot shifting. Single foot shifting is where we move from one stance to another without moving forwards or backwards. So here we're going from our L stance to our walking stance in this position. In Jungun, you've got L to walking, walking to L, and L to low as well. So lots of foot shifting. So it's really important from here to remember the difference in the widths as well as the lengths. From my L stance here, I've got to come back slightly and then go forward. And open, back, forward. It doesn't do that here. There's not so much backward motion here. It's more of a drop because you're being grabbed. But for most of it, back a little bit, drop forward. Feel the difference in your stances. So go back 1, 2. Make sure those stances are different. Try not to step too wide with that walking stance. Make sure you get your shoulder width here. Go, left and right, left and right. Think about that foot shifting from L to walking. This is great. If I say anything wrong, then Dr. V can correct me with a private message.
Mr. Christian, be careful not to open your elbow too much. Straighter, straighter, straight in front of you.
Right in front of your shoulder.
Good. Yeah. Not here. There.
There, that's it as well. Remember, it's always reverse. Good.
More.
Okay, and
Control your shoulders. Control your shoulders. Square, and the elbow in front of you.
That's it, Jacob. That's the correction.
Bring it in. Yes.
Okay, cool.
Better. Yes. Good.
Good question. Is it eye height or philtrum height? I'll show you the spelling of philtrum.
I can do it. Philtrum.
Eye level, I believe, isn't it, Dr. V?
No, it's philtrum.
Philtrum. Okay. So just stop at your philtrum height.
Grandmaster Marano noted it at the last IIC, I think. So
Yes,
they dropped it
right.
slightly.
Yeah, so stop at the height of your philtrum.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Come on. Next one. Back fist side strike. We had a particular question about the back fist side strike in X stance. Before we do that, I want to do it in a walking stance so that you can feel some of the difference. So in Dosan, we're here, hands in front of chest, cross at shoulder height, and strike to the temple. Now that cross happens in front of your rib cage. So normally, for most of our movements, we're crossing in front of the opposite chest, but for back fist, it's a little bit further across, okay, in front of your rib cage here. So in walking stance first, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. What I want you to check is that your wrist is straight, your shoulder line, there's a tiny angle in your rotation in your wrist so that these two knuckles are straight up and down. If my fist is straight up and down, only one of my knuckles is going to hit. But if I turn it too far, only that knuckle is going to hit. That's no good either. You want these two knuckles here to be straight up and down and your wrist straight. Not like this, okay? Not here, where the first thing that's going to hit is my wrist. This way, okay, where those two knuckles are up and down. Remember the 3 count that we're working on? 1, 2, 3. That way you won't pause at the intermediate position. 1, 2, 3. The other side here, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Crossing a little bit further across in front of your rib cage, striking hand underneath. When you use your back fist, you're underneath with both palms down. Okay, so when you're walking stance from here, 1, 2. Just go left and right. It's the height of your temple. Striking your opponent's temple. Go, left and right, left and right. That's it. Just on the outside of your shoulder, no wider. you do need to have your elbow slightly inward of your fist. If you're here as if I'm blocking, I'm not going to hit with my back fist here because of the angle of my arm. I have to angle it slightly so that I can hit with my back fist. Very slight, it's not this way, but it has to be just slightly, a tiny bit beyond straight up and down, where my block's actually angled the other way. There's a little rotation here. Okay. Try not to pause in that intermediate position, Lockie. So we're not going 1, 2, where I'm stopping in my cross. Think 1, 2, 3. So you're passing through the cross. Because once the movement's in, that's it. Once the movement's in motion, it doesn't stop. So we're not going 1, 2. Go 1, 2, 3. So you two, Isabel, just watch that you're not pausing here. Don't pause with the hands crossed. Pass through it. Okay, just delay that cross a little bit, Isabel. Just delay, then cross and block. Delay, cross and block. All in one motion.
Mr. West, relax a little bit more your shoulders when you do the movement. Here, with a slight half facing, bang. Don't be too stiff with your shoulders. Relax a little bit more and go for it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now the feet in X stance. So, X stance, both feet are actually pointing pretty much the same direction. Okay, be very careful. You'll see quite a lot of people do this. It's absolutely wrong. Both feet point pretty much in the same direction. Now, when you jump into an X stance, the other foot will come behind it with the heel off the ground. If whatever foot has the weight on the ground, that's the name of the stance. So this is actually my right foot. It might look more like my left, but it's my right foot. So this is a right X stance. But if I step into X stance, I step in front. It's still a right X stance. If I jump into it, the other foot comes behind. If I step into it, the other foot comes in front. First time you step into it's in one of the black belt patterns in Poland. In color belt patterns, you're jumping into it. Now, again with the feet, I'm going to come a little bit closer so I can show you my feet a bit closer up. Here, my other foot crosses over. I tend to think of having my foot swords on the same line. And they're both pointing approximately in the same direction. From here, I can very easily squat down, really easily. Okay, so just get that foot position right first. So just lightly, 1, 2. Make sure your feet are both pointing in the same direction. If my heel and the ball of my foot are on the same line, it's about right. So I'm not too far here and I'm not back here. Okay, almost like toes and heel in the same line. Okay, so just try that left and right for a bit. 1, 2. Keep both of your feet pointing the same direction. Most of your weight on the in this case, because we're jumping on the front foot. 1, 2, go. Just check that both feet point the same way.
And guys, remember to bend your legs. If you're straight, your calf will impede you to do a proper stance.
The general change
really
to say sit.
Bend your legs.
Sit. You've got to sit
Yes.
down in your X stance. He was really low. If you see a picture of General Che in the stance, he is really low. Okay, it's a very low position. So you got to bend. Keep your torso upright.
And you'll be more stable that way.
Okay, good. Now we have the back fist. First thing, the back fist cross for this movement is different than it is a walking stance. That's why we did it in a walking stance first. Here you cross in front of your rib cage. When you jump into it in X stance, you cross in front of your floating ribs. So it's like a little bit more of a wind-up. Your finished position is half facing. Okay? And again, with your back fist at shoulder line, making sure you're hitting with 2 knuckles, not 1. So from here, that jump is to get distance. It's about a walking stance. Okay, we're not going for height, so just try left and right. I can do left, right, left, right. Make sure you finish half facing. Okay, don't turn too much to be full facing. Half facing, but also not side facing where your shoulders tense. So go left and right, left and right. Once you've done that, come from walking stance. And then come the other walking stance. Okay, go left, right, left, right. Don't think about jumping for this one. Just think about taking a big step. Okay, you don't get a lot of height. It's not about getting height. Just take a big step and the other foot follows. Your strike happens in time with your second foot, but they're very close together. So it's hard to do that.
Mr. Saper, your foot, your supporting foot comes onto a 45-degree line. I can see from your knee that you're too on the side, too much towards the 90 degrees. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. V. That's a key one.
Yep.
If I have both of my feet pointing 90 degrees, I can't stop my forward momentum when I fall over.
Yep.
If I have both of my feet forwards, my body facing's wrong and my back fist is over here, so I miss the target. So we have to go 45 degrees to get our body facing right and hit the target and to stop our forward momentum. It's different in Taige for seniors. Taige, our feet are pointing sideways because we don't have forward momentum. We have upward momentum. So we don't have to stop ourselves falling that way. Same thing with your crossing. Delay, cross strike. Delay, cross strike.
Mr. August, same thing. You jump and you're a bit too sideways at the end. Try to be more on the angle towards me, towards the camera. Yes, better.
That's it, Jacob. Just go a little bit wider to your shoulder line. You're stopping at your chest line. Just go a little bit wider so you stop at your shoulder line. Okay, so stopping here.
Yeah, Mr. Saper, on this side, you're too on the side facing. You need to turn more.
Sit a bit. Sorry, Dr. V.
Yeah.
Stop at your shoulder line. Don't go past it. Maybe a tiny bit more, Colton, maybe a tiny bit more half facing.
Yeah. Try to be straighter towards the camera. We see too much of your side. Now your supporting foot. Turn your supporting foot towards me, towards the camera. Yes, that's better.
It's good, Colin. Okay, and command. Now we had a few people asking, we got 2 more fundamental movements we're going to work on tonight based on the list you provided. One is flying side kick. The other one for black stripes is the jump and spin into the knife hand guarding block. So let's start with flying side kick because it's applicable to all of you. The flying side kick, remember there's multiple ways to do this. 2-foot takeoff, jump up and kick. You can do a 1-foot takeoff, just lifting the back foot up, drive it out and lift the other foot. Remember you've got to tap this way. I've got to be careful with flying kicks because I've already had a globe fall off and we're on the second floor here, so not really set up for flying. The third one, this is really good for black strokes to practice, of course, is your scissor action. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so all of them, these are all acceptable takeoffs, and you want to practice all of them. To start with, the easiest one is the rear foot coming up, leaping off the front foot. That's the easiest flying side kick. 2-foot takeoff, it's easiest with your front leg. 2-foot takeoff with the back leg. It's really tricky to do because you've got to turn your hips, and then that scissor action is great fun to work on. Making sure that you load across the line. So choose one, go. Challenge yourselves. Make sure you lean, load, kick and tuck, retract, land. Land with your supporting foot facing away from you because it has less impact on your knee. Don't have that supporting foot facing sideways when you land. Go, left and right, left and right. Max, remember to pierce. You're flicking a little bit. Try and keep the body the same open position as you do, your shoulders the same open position as you do on the ground. Doesn't need to, Colden. Guarding block looks really good. But you'll find that a lot of people will do a kind of a hand movement in time with their foot, which looks good as well. It'll help you with the rhythm. That's it, cool. Make sure you're extending your leg. Some of you blue belts are not quite extending your leg. You got to straighten it right out. Even if you're landing with your leg straight, you got to work on straightening that leg right out. Does your scissoring leg start near your chest or is it wider? I come out wide, but you've got to make sure that your knee and your foot come past your center line so you can pierce outwards. You won't have time, I don't think, to bring it right to your chest. Make sure you're feeling that piercing motion though. Getting that piercing motion outwards. That's the most important thing. Feel the pierce, make sure you're turning your foot over rather than it sticking up. It's worthwhile doing this on a bag or trying it just touching a wall so you can see whether you're getting your foot position right. And by wall, I mean a concrete wall, not one you got to put your foot through.
To all of you, the difficulty here is for chambering your leg. If you don't chamber properly, you will just flick your leg and your foot. So you really need to chamber in order to pump and go through something.
Looks good, Lockie. A little bit more low, Jacob, as Dr. V says. You'll feel it pierce if you chamber it properly.
Yeah, better, Isabel.
You got to bring that knee and foot past your center line a little bit more, Cam, so it doesn't flick. Colder, the tricky thing for you is to extend the leg right out. Good, Isabel, lift your knee a little bit. You've got good flexibility, so make sure you lift your knee nice and high. Better.
Liam, be careful of your body shape because you have the tendency to look away and then you curve your body. So look where you kick and try to bring your upper body towards your kick to remain straighter.
Colin, the answer to your question, you're getting into patterns now where you can use these steps to help you get back to your spot. If anything, people err by stepping too far. So maybe a shoulder width, just a little over a shoulder width. You don't want to go too far with that step. So think shoulder width, you should be about right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it, Liam. Think about that body position in the air. Try not to drop that front shoulder and straighten out that leg. That's better. Straighten that leg out.
Yeah, much better.
Okay, come on. Now we all seem to have jumping space, so we can all try this last one, the black stripes one. I'm gonna have to be really careful doing this because of my space in here. As I say, I'm on the second floor and the floor's not so solid, so it shakes a little bit. Too many things I can break. Okay, so from here though, starting in a fixed stance, U-shaped block, we jump up, we spin around towards our back and land in an L stance knife hand guarding block. So it's a 180-degree jump, okay? So from here, the challenge is not double jumping. You don't want to do this, okay, because it's wrong. From here, you jump straight from this position. The cool thing is, if I were just to do a knife hand guarding block from here, from my U-shaped block, that gives me just enough momentum to get my 180-degree jump. So I don't have to, sorry, my 360. I don't have to think about spinning. If I think about spinning, I'm going to end up losing my center of gravity and go all skew width. From here, all I really need to do is jump and load my hands backwards with some energy, and it gives me about the right spin. It also loads my hands for the guarding block. So from here, when I jump up and pull my hands back, they're already chambered for my knife hand guarding block. So I get a nice guarding block as well. So you'll see people that will jump and spin, bring their hands in like a figure skater, and then do a rubbish little guarding block. That's not what we're after with this. We use those figure skating techniques for lots of our flying kicks and stuff. For this one, it doesn't work. From here, I've got to open my hands. That gives me my jump momentum. And then land nicely in my knife hand guarding block. Try it. So start from a U-shaped block, jump and pull your hands back, spin and land in an L stance guarding block, pretty much on the same spot. Black stripes, you want to do something really cool, try it the other way. So you have to think about it first. From here, when you jump, you're pulling your hands back as if you're loading, spinning towards your front. From here, pull my hands back as if I'm loading, spin towards my front, and land this way. Try it. It's really freaky. We have this tendency all the time to do the same, do the movement only on one side. So try this one on both sides. It'll really freak you out. Good, Colin, that was really nice. The other thing, of course, that we have to work on doing, like all of our jumps, we don't jump like this. Heels don't go up behind you. We jump with our knees in front. It's the same here. When I jump, I bring my knees up. So you got to tuck your knees up when you do this jump. That's it, Cam. Keep your feet underneath you. Tuck up your knees. Max, this will be a good challenge for you. Let's see it. Good, Jacob. Spinning the other way, Max. I'm not sure. Well, that was good, Max, but I'm not sure whether you're spinning the right way. I missed it.
So do I spin? So if I have my left leg forward, do I spin?
start with your right leg forward. If I've got my
Spin
right leg
towards your
forward,
back.
I'm going to spin counterclockwise. So if I've got my left leg forward, I'm spinning clockwise.
Okay. So this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
All the way around so that the same leg ends up at the back.
Liam, don't smack the TV.
Yeah, be careful as well that, you know, just watch the things around you, make sure they're not shaking and stuff. And come on. The other important thing with this particular technique, don't do it more than half a dozen times in a row because it only gets worse. Okay, so try it half a dozen times, do something else, maybe come back to it later. You're start getting yourself too dizzy and it just doesn't work. So half a dozen times, maybe try it on, you know, without the jump, just a little spin, get your hand movement right. But the jumping itself, if you do that more than half a dozen times, you'll probably find it just starts to get worse. So you're better off moving on to something different. Okay, any questions about any of the fundamental movements we've done so far today? We've covered them in quite a lot of depth.
No, sir.
We spent probably a bit more time on those ones today, and I guess with the warm-up as well, that we've used a bit of the class, or most of the class now. We'll go through and do a couple of patterns, but it could be a fairly reasonable way to use these classes where we actually pick some techniques and really, really dig at them and get the detail, because we've got the, you know, there's a lot we can't do. So that's we'll dig into the details of some of these movements and then start to put them together. So I want everybody now to work through your own pattern. Remember the way that we work through our pattern in our limited space. Would there be one reason why one leg is holding back when you tuck your leg? So is one leg not wanting to tuck, Cam? That's in your head. We're going to work on that one, young man. So the a good way to practice it, we're in level 3, we're not locked up in our houses. So if the weather's nice and you can got some grass outside, just try it on the grass where you know, if you fall down, you get dirty, you don't get hurt. And don't worry about your hands, just jump and spin a few times and just work on that tucking. You'll find also that if one of your legs drags, it'll make your spin a little bit lopsided as well. Bringing both of your legs up together and you'll find that you get much better balance. Oh, you got mats, you're a legend. All right, okay, so remember when we've got a limited space and we're doing patterns, don't shortcut your technique and don't shortcut your stances. Instead, pause, get space, continue. So if I'm from here and I'm doing, say, your gok, and I run out of space because I'm coming up to here doing my front kick, I'm not going to go a little bitty front kick. I'm also not going to kick my Blu-ray off the shelves. I'll just adjust myself back a little bit and then go. When I run out of space, adjust your distance so you can keep your patterns nice and strong. So through your own pattern, take your time, go. We'll watch and pull some feedback out. I'll let Dr. Valias talk and I'll shut up. So I don't talk over each other. 준비. 시작. Don't rush. Keep your eyes up, Lockie. Nice.
Liam, Isabel, check your stance. You're standing too much.
Isabel, you could be a bit longer.
Liam, go down. Deep. Yes, better. Press your knees out. Jacob, make sure you're half facing, not full facing. Yeah.
Liam, just remember, and come on, Buttle. Liam, remember from here, from your back fist, land in walking stance when you release, and then punch. You still got a little bit of this going on, and you're not going to release like that because you haven't got the power of your body in your release. Okay, so you got to drop with your whole body and then punch. Okay, so from here it's 1, 2. Also watch your U-shape block. You're a bit low with this bottom hand. Make sure they're parallel. And there was something else that happened before that. Just make sure you're finishing your forearm guarding block in a nice L stance before you do your palm pressing block. Your L stance was your front back foot was pointed forwards, so you're already going into this position. So make sure you finish 1 and then do 2. Okay. Up to you, Dr. V. What do you got?
Well, from what I could see, my connection is a bit unstable, so it's a bit. But what I can see is still the same as what I usually told you guys. You need to go deep into your stances. You have the tendency to stand too much, especially with your L stances. Your knees are dropping inside, not pressing out, aligned with your toes. Yeah.
Can that flying side kick's flicking a little bit? We're going to work on loading and hitting. If you've got a tree or something outside that you want, just go lightly, just touching it so that you get the right direction. That'll help quite a lot. Or a block wall. I had one for you, Colden. I'm just trying to remember what it was. I'm looking generally pretty sharp. Oh, 2 hands here. Make sure you're extending your other hand out and then pulling it back for those 2 movements. So they both have 2 hands. Isabel, just a little bit longer in some of those stances. And Isabel and Liam, both of you, you must weigh, I'm guessing, about 30 kilograms. Put 30 kilograms into your movements. At the moment, you're kind of just using your arms. So there's about 5 kilograms going into your movements. So we've got to try and work on getting the power of your body into all of your movements. So you're really getting a lot of power from that core, and a little bit delay and then accelerate. And that'll help a lot as well. The stuff that we've been working on in class over the last couple of weeks, okay? Delay and accelerate and really try and get power from the middle part of your body. Okay, any questions? Oh, you lightly clench, Colin, you just lightly clench your fists. Yeah. So pretty much all of our intermediate positions, loosely clenched fists is the way we've standardized it. So here, and then, here, and then loosely clenched, and then open again. Good question. Okay, just lightly stretch off. You'll all have your own good stretching routines by now. You can feel free to keep mine. You can unmute and ask questions and stuff if you like. The step distance between the side kicks is a shoulder width in Chumu. So 1 side kick, then 1 shoulder width, then the other side kick. And then a shoulder width, and then you step forward into the X knife hand checking block. Just change your stretch.
flying psychic has a one-leg landing, right? So
Yeah, well, technically, in theory, you're supposed to do a flying side kick and then land in your knife hand guarding block and L stance. I've only ever seen 2 people do it, and only one of them well. Most commonly, people will do the flying side kick, land on one leg, sine wave guarding block, and that's very acceptable.
So
Change your stretch. So as I said at the start of the class, just make sure you're reading through your syllabus books when you've got some time. This is a really good time when you're at home. If you're getting a little bit less schoolwork than usual, some of you may be, so you might be able to do some reading of the Taekwondo books. Many of you will be piled up with schoolwork. If you've got a bit of freedom in your schoolwork of what you're working on with, free writing or research and stuff, then you can research one of the people behind one of the pattern meetings and write about that. There's lots of good stuff in behind those. Black stripes, if you need a topic, I highly recommend Yisu and Shin because the guy was a legend. And there's some great material out there about him. And change your stretch. Any general stuff from you, Dr. V?
About what?
Anything for your guys?
It's really important to relax as much as you can, always. The more relaxed you are, the more energy you'll be able to develop, because it's all about acceleration and explosiveness. If you're tensed, you're not able to release. You're not able to let go. So you really need to relax and bang. Like in self-defense, when we practice a flinch response. Oops.
No, keep going. They can still hear you.
Yeah. So the same way, if you want to have a really good flinch response, you need to be extremely relaxed. And then you are supposed to explode suddenly. But we need to bring that into every technique of what we do.
Just a couple of things that I'll show you on the web. One is in our members part of our page, we have under members, syllabus sheets and resources. And remember in here, last lockdown, I recorded classes for all of the grades, specialized classes for all the grades up to blue belt, I think. I think I ran out of camera battery as I was doing the, oh no, I've got some red stripe stuff in there. So I've just recorded all the fundamental movements for every grade. I've recorded the step sparring stuff. There's Master Rimmer going through patterns. So for blue belt, for example, it's broken down into a number of videos. So there's 20 minutes on your fundamental movements. There's the 20-minute video of Master Rimmer going through Jungun, 20 minutes on step sparring. So there's some really good good content in there to go through if you're learning your material, or there's some good tips in there regardless. The other thing that I highly recommend, there's a grandmaster in England named Grandmaster Nardizzi. Okay, so the spelling there, Nardizzi. He's got a fantastic series of videos. He's a grandmaster from London, really, really good. And he's very technical as well. So you can see there's sparring drill videos, a lot of really short videos. You can see a lot of them are like 5 minutes long. And he focuses on key stuff. You can see videos there on the science of Taekwondo, and then a whole lot of stuff there about Taekwondo lessons is all about pattern stuff. So he goes through fundamental movements of patterns, and then he goes through the patterns themselves. So highly recommend checking out his channel. He's got some incredible stuff in here. So if you're bored one day, you're flicking on YouTube, Grandmaster Nardizzi's a really good man to watch. Okay, I'll stop sharing now. Thanks, everyone. If you've got anything that you want to work on that we can work on in video like this, please feel free to either email me or just pass that information in, and we can design some classes around it. We can really customize these Zoom classes for you. So you can email me, you can email Dr. V. We can really customize this for what you want to work on, insofar as we're limited by our space. Also remember to, you've got those syllabus sheets, print out your syllabus sheet, make sure you know and understand every one of the movements in your grade, everything required for your grade. So working through that stuff as well. And again, that can be fodder for emailing me. If you want to work on, even if we want to work on some of the self-defense techniques, we can work on some of the theory of the self-defense techniques with imaginary opponents. It's not going to be hard workout stuff, but we can work our way through some of that theory. So if there's anything you don't know from your syllabus, flick an email or and we'll try and design some classes around it. I do suspect, although we're currently in lockdown for 2 weeks, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets extended. So we can make the most of these classes. And shot. Okay, I'll look forward to seeing you all in class tomorrow. We've got, of course, Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. And thanks very much for coming along tonight. Give us some information about what you want to work on, and we'll design stuff for you. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you, Dr. V. Nice to see you too. Ta-da. Kia ora. Take one. Huzzah. Thanks, guys. Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Should I really